and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel? Here. Commissioner Vogler?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. I don't know if that'll help.
I thought you were going to ask me to read the pledge.
Oh, missed opportunity.
I know.
Actually regret that. I will know we're being live streamed right now. It's being sent out via our YouTube channel for public consumption. We're also being recorded internally, which is the microphone there for our purposes of compiling the minutes. And so to that end, if you have any business before the board, we ask if you come up and speak into the microphone. Row officer reports and comments. Looking around today, I'm not seeing any row officers or row officer representatives. Public comments. Do we have any member of the public wish to make comment? Carrie? Approach the bench.
Good morning. Last week after the election board meeting, which I viewed through the video, which is a very great service, I had asked the commissioners some questions, and I later got a response from the elections director. And some of the questions were just to clarify exactly, the voter roll numbers. I want to make sure that I heard them correctly. And 2 days after the meeting, he sent me an update, and there were an additional 6,774 registrations in 2 days.
So no, there weren't. The numbers that you originally have were Republicans and Democrats. Those numbers didn't factor in third parties, independents, et cetera.
Thank you. That wasn't explained, so that's.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure.
Why is there such a big disparity?
Yep.
I also, whoops, I have to check my email for some things. Also, in my questions, I had asked about, in light of 2020 elections issued across the country, there's a lot of information coming out. Some of the key states like Pennsylvania, they're definitely exposing election fraud. Where that's going to lead, who knows? But I had asked, what steps our county had taken to make sure our election was secure. And, of course, Mr. Damani said that they're secure and they take great steps. But I have a map that was created by Captain Seth Keschel. He was an Army captain, and for years as a hobby, I guess, he started predicting elections by looking at trends in voter rolls. And after the 2020 election, he put together this map of Pennsylvania. He started with the key states that were most problematic, and Pennsylvania has a lot of problems, according to his forecasts. And Lawrence County is even also in the green, that there's not clear fraud, but there's something.
No, I think we're yellow.
Right, you're yellow, so you're not red, but so the red means there's something really wrong with the voter rolls or the results. Lawrence County was yellow, not green. There are a few counties that appear to have no problems, but.
And I'll note those counties are where that's Forest, Cameron, and Fulton, which
Yes.
have the combined population of the borough of New Wilmington.
Yes, okay. So, well, just to interject there, there's some information coming out of Delaware County, which is the fifth largest county. They actually have two whistleblowers, and all kinds of video and audio where not only the elections warehouse director, but the county solicitor are on record. They were destroying tapes. So there's problems. And so, as a citizen, I just feel like it's my due diligence to look into these things, make sure that our elections are in good shape too. Prior to the 2020 election, we received mail-in ballots for two people that don't even live at my home.
Those don't look like.
This died. in February of 2011.
So this looks like it's a registration application or an application for a ballot. It's not the actual ballot.
Right, but they picked these up off of the voter roll lists. And so since he died in 2011, he really shouldn't have been on our voter roll.
Is his name still on the voter roll
He's
right
no
now?
longer on the roll now.
Because that could have been an old database that they were using.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm just
No, I
pointing
know.
out
I'm
some
just.
discrepancies, and I'm not pointing any fingers or anything. And my daughter also, so those are things that need to be updated.
Ally or Katie, congratulations, by the way, on Ally's engagement.
Very excited. And then the last thing, well, not last thing, but as far as I had asked about connection to the internet with the voting machines, which Mr. Giamatti assured us that, they've looked into it and there's no problems. However, in Wisconsin, where there's a lot of, it looks very likely that some counties are going to decertify. Over half of the state now is looking at decertified. And the Office of, I forget the name of this office, but one of the reports that came out is Green Bay, Wisconsin, had all ES&S machines, just like ours. And they found that all of the machines were connected to the internet at a hidden access point at a hotel across the street. So, my questioning is not to say, I think there's fraud or something going on in this office. There might be something larger that you don't even know and you're not aware of. So, I'm going to continue to take a look at the voter roll. Seth Keschel's putting together a heat map like this for our county with all the districts. So we can take a look at, do we have some districts where there's maybe some irregularities? And then my last comment is about meeting minutes. I understand I just stopped before the meeting to see the meeting book, and I was told that the meeting book is they're now upstairs, which is good. I'm glad that there are meeting books. Everybody was down here, so I couldn't go to check them, but that's definitely something the public should be able to walk into any agency at any time and look at their meeting book. So I appreciate that the county has taken steps to correct that.
Yeah, that's one of the things this board's done is we have this board, we have salary board, which is us, we have election board, which is us, we have pension board, which is us. But those are all handled sort of just like, for example, pension board was handled out of the controller's office before. Election board was handled out of the elections office. We've really consolidated all of those and brought them up to the board level. And Vanessa and Chris really have done a good job. They've taken a leadership role in absorbing a lot of those secretarial and clerical duties that have everything all sort of one-stop shop location.
Not that there was anything wrong with the way it was being done before.
Well, the election board didn't have minute books. They didn't have them. And still have litigation going on against the county for meeting minutes, so there was problems. And because the election board meets infrequently, after an election board meeting, you're required to approve those meeting minutes. They need to be approved by the next commissioner meeting. We don't have to wait until the next meeting, which might be several months, just to get the meeting minutes from a meeting that was held 6 months ago.
The commissioners, though, when we meet here on a Tuesday, we cannot approve minutes of the Board of Elections. We have to be meeting as the Board of Elections in order to approve minutes from the Board of Elections. So we don't have the ability to do that. This is a commissioners meeting. We're wearing different hats. When we're meeting as the election board, we have election board hats on. Today, we're meeting as the Board of Commissioners.
Maybe the rules are a little bit different for the county, but I know that in the past, I had requested auditor meeting minutes from Wilmington Township, and they only meet one day a year. And I was told that I had to wait until they met again, and that's not possible. You probably cannot wait an entire year to find out what salaries were just approved. And I did find in the law that it says at the next regular supervisors meeting, they must be approved.
That would be the township code.
Right.
We are governed by the county code. Two different sets of laws.
So I'll look into that, but again, it also seems unreasonable that we wouldn't be able people to know what happened at the election board meeting if it's several months away.
Well,
Thank you.
absolutely, like you noted too, we do have I know the minutes are a formalized document. We do have the recordings now that we are making use of in every meeting, not just board of commissioners, not just board of elections. And I'm glad that you're looking at those. I think the more people that view those, the better.
Great, thank you.
Sure, thank you. Any other public comments? Mike, nothing?
No, sir.
We have no repository properties today, no advertising bids or proposals, no receipt of bids or proposals. We do have warrant registers for March 31 and March 29. I'll give my colleagues a minute to check those over and take a motion to accept and file warrant registers. Or not, if you don't want to. Second. Oh, I'm sorry. We have motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes from Tuesday, March 29th, 2022. Again, I'll give my colleagues a minute, check those over, and I'll take a motion to approve the minutes or make any changes as necessary and expedient. Second. We have motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We do have two written communications here. One from the North Beaver Township Municipal Authority. I'll just read the first paragraph here. This is to advise you that North Beaver Township Municipal Authority is filing an MPDES permit renewal application with DEP for its Hickory View Terrace wastewater treatment plant discharge to Hickory Run. Wastewater treatment facility is currently operating under MPDES permit large number, which will expire on November 30th, 2022. They provide a site map, which is somewhere. So their municipal authority is doing some sewage work, or more accurately, renewing some sewage permits. And the last one is from Metco. Reads, Dear Chairman, this is notified of the International Metals Reclamation Company. It's applying the DEP Bureau of Land Recycling Waste Management verification of the existing hazardous waste storage processing treatment permit revisions reflect the proposed waste reduction volumes associated with storage pads, silos, and steel and concrete tanks at the facility. As I always do try to note, county has no approval authority over these types of permits. These companies, entities, municipal authorities, et cetera, are just required to notify the board of commissioners whenever certain activities take place in the county. We don't have the authority to red light or green light anything. But unless any further discussion, questions, comments on those.
May we note for the record that the second document pertains to Metco's facility in the borough of Elwood City.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep. I'll take a motion to accept and file.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We do have a staff report today from our chief assessor, JR. JR, if you approach the bench. How you doing today?
Not bad. How's everyone doing today?
All living the dream.
Not Monday, right?
It's not Monday.
That's okay.
Pretty close.
Good morning. Coming a little late to you with my biannual interim billing report. Usually I'm here in February, but office has been quite busy over the last month. But I just wanted to report that last year's 2021 interim billing, which is the second half of 2021, the county assessed value increased, or the interim billing was $17,885,691. That brought in an additional unbudgeted revenue of $148,061 in county tax revenue. That's what it's going to be billed for the first half of this year, based off the interim bills from last year. Keep in mind to all the property owners, because we get this question quite a bit, this is really a 2021 tax. We assessed it in 2021, we're billing it in 2022 to give the tax collectors and the treasurer a 60-day discount, 60-day face period, so everyone can pay their portion at the right time. That's a very popular question because they think they're getting double dipped because they're getting a county bill and then a month later they're getting an interim bill. This is a bill from the last half of 2021. Keep in mind, these numbers are just the county portion. We have a few municipalities and 8 of our 9 school districts, Blackhawk being the only one that does not do interim billing, but they only have the one municipality that also send out interim bills. So I do want to also report that this has been about 1.5 million in assessment over the life of the interim bill, which brings in over $250,000 of unbudgeted revenue since the onset of this. We've done a lot recently. I'm sorry, 1.5 million of unbudgeted revenue, 238 million of assessment. I apologize on that. And the last thing I want to mention about this, we started a project under the previous Board of Commissioners, the sketch detection project. The county paid a firm, Evaluator Services and Technology, $150,000 to canvass the county throughout aerial imagery. I'm glad to report that as of right now, just through interim billing, we have recouped $675,000. So we paid $150,000 and the county has recouped $675,000. So we're 4 times what we paid for the project. And that's just the interim billing portion. Interim bills are only billed when the assessment increased over $2,500, because otherwise it was not cost productive for us to send a bill, mail out and produce all that. It was a loss of money to send that out.
So thank you. That's going to help plug our current deficit.
Absolutely.
So appreciate your work on that. Any questions, comments for JR?
Just thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, JR. Just to clarify, the one school district that you referenced, Blackhawk, that municipality is the borough of Enon Valley, am I correct?
That is correct.
That borough, their students attend the Blackhawk School District in Beaver County.
That's correct.
But as you noted, the other 8 school districts all participate in the.
All participate, and we've added 3 municipalities this year: Hickory Township, Wampum Borough, and New Beaver Borough all started doing their own billing as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's a pity too. I mean, all the construction going on down in the valley, they're missing out.
Thank you.
Commissioner reports and comments. Looks like I'm on deck. Thanks. I'm on deck first today. 2 things. Number one, I'm not slowly, but I'm working my way through our Q1 financials. I'm through APO at this point, which means I still have most of the judicial offices, as well as our special accounts, meaning CYS, NHDS, domestics and Senate, and 911. So hopefully we'll be done with that. This week's a little intensive, but we'll be done with that probably by mid-month, just to get a better, more accurate idea of where we're at financially. Second thing, Representative Bernstein and I sent an email out yesterday. We followed up with a physical invitation to our municipal leaders regarding the Lawrence County Municipal Economic Summit. That's officially been scheduled for, look at the date right here, May 26th. So we're really looking forward to getting all of our municipal officials together to talk about the future of economic development in Lawrence County. I'll note that I've talked to a number of them even just since yesterday, and there's definitely a desire to have that conversation. They're definitely eager to have that conversation, and it'll be interesting to see the results of that conversation. I think that there's an appetite for at least some degree of regime change, which again will be interesting to have that discussion. But looking forward to that. That's all I have. We're ready. We're on deck.
I have a lot, but I have no voice. So I'll save it for next week.
Sounds good. For those of us who don't know, it was Loretta's birthday a couple days ago. And while that's not the reason for the cause of her voice, we're certainly going to lie and say that it was.
Too much time at the cigar bar.
Dan, you're on deck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing today.
All right, we'll move on to some new resolutions. Up first, we have resolution 2022-74.
74.
74. Make sure here we got 2. Yeah, we got a revenue expense. The front of the sheet just showed the expense account increase. I want to make sure that revenue account increased as well. But this is just very simply, we received roughly a little under $10,000 for CDBG admin, county administration for our 2022 budget. And that's coming from fiscal year 2016. Again, this is just sort of a CDB to get. It's just a clerical amendment, giving more dollars, additional dollars that we've received. Questions, comments on that? All right, I would take a motion to approve 2022-74.
So moved.
Second. We have motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next, Budget Amendment 75. This relates to the DA forfeitures account. This account, I purposely in the budget left it at zero just because the account randomly fluctuates. There might be years when we get nothing. There might be years when we get $250,000. And so this specific right now, we received $30,000 into that fund. So what we're doing is we're just adjusting the budget to account for the increased revenues in that fund. Any questions or comments on this?
I do have a question.
We got
As you noted, the front portion, the resolution portion does say $30,000. If you flip it over, it says $30,762. Should the resolution reflect the additional $762?
yes.
Thank you.
With that change, anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
With that change, I'll take a motion for 75.
So moved.
Second as corrected.
We have motion second. Any further discussion here? None. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 76. Again, this is another one of the DA's accounts. DA's got like 5 or 6 different accounts. This is for our Drug Enforcement Agency Task Force Officer. We are transferring out some money to cover overtime expenses related to drug enforcement in Lawrence County. So what this account effectively does is it flows money. The feds flow money through this specific account, which is monitored, audited, regulated in a different fashion to the general fund. And then we flow money from that account back to our general fund to reimburse expenses associated with the task force officer that we currently have under employment. Any questions on that?
I'm puzzled just by, we have one line that says decreasing, 3 lines that each say increasing.
Sure. So that's what that is, and I'll try to walk through, is we're decreasing. So there was $19,000, actually there's $40,000 in that shared forfeiture account line item. We're decreasing that to transfer it to under the same DA forfeiture fund, the transfer to general fund account, right? From there, the money is able to be transferred to the general fund, where it's basically accounted for as new revenue for the general fund, which means we have to increase in the general fund both a revenue account and an expense account. In this case, the revenue account in the general fund is transfer to the general fund from DEA TFO, and the expense account is that DA overtime.
It's still not adding up for me. How much revenue did we pull in?
So right now in the budget, there's $19,000 in revenue pulled in. I had that previously, actually I have $40,000 budgeted under the DEA TFO account, right? So, and I had that all under one line item in the shared forfeiture expense item. In order to move that money from the shared forfeiture expense item in the DEA TFO account to the general fund, we have to do a transfer from DEA TFO to the general fund because they're kept in separate funds, right?
So that accounts for the decreasing from TFO.
Decreasing DEA TFO shared forfeitures and increasing DEA TFO transfer to general fund account. So one line item is going down, one line item is going up.
Understood.
Right? From there, when the money's transferred to the general fund, it's treated as new revenue to the general fund. In other words, that's unanticipated revenue that we didn't budget previously. So the general fund is receiving new revenues from that account, which then means that we have to increase an expense account to account for those new revenues. So we're getting $19,000 in new revenues. We're also budgeting $19,000 in quote unquote new expenditures to the DA overtime. Do you follow that?
No. I'm looking for the decrease as well.
Yeah.
Pulling it back from, it seems you would have to then take the money from the general fund transfer. You'd have to decrease that to increase the overtime
No, because it's new revenue.
But you're getting revenue, you're still removing.
But it's not budgeted. So there's revenue accounts and there's expense accounts, right? For example, I'm gonna say there's $5 in tax revenue. That means there has to be a corresponding $5 in salary of commissioners, right? Revenues have to equal expenses in our budget. That's state law. You have to have the balanced budget. When we're getting new revenue from it would be effectively the same thing as if we received, a grant that we weren't anticipating. And if you'll notice on those transfers, we'll increase the revenue account attributable to a grant, and let's say it's a planning grant. At that point, we'll also increase grants and programs, right? So you've got two increases in one go, one revenue and one expense, right? Because again, they have to equal. In the DEA TFO, we're increasing one expense and decreasing another expense. So it still stays flat. In other words, the $19,000 increase in transfer to general fund is equal to the $19,000 decrease in the shared forfeitures line item. In the general fund, we're increasing a revenue item and increasing an expense item as opposed to equalizing expenses.
I'm still missing how it all balances out at the end, but,
Trust me on this one? Just trust me on this one. I'll take a motion to approve 2022
Trust you too.
Thank you. Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes,
Commissioner Vogler?
yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
you'll have to give us a tutorial after.
I'll show you how it all works, yeah. This is, we have two DAs. Now we have the assessment. JR, you're up again. We've got 77 here. Looks like we've got a settlement agreement for Board of Assessment Appeals.
Good morning again. In front of you is a resolution for a proposed settlement agreement between the property owner, John P. Elder and Robert Kalbach, and the Board of Assessment Appeals. The property owners filed an appeal for the property located in Wilmington Borough. It's a 5-unit apartment complex. They came to the board with an appraisal that the board rejected, but they filed up to the Common Pleas Court. A settlement between the taxing bodies occurred, to which the settlement number is in front of you. The current assessment on the property is $137,700, and we've come to an agreement of $118,000. Since this is an income stream property, it's a pretty cut and dry case and argument. So the taxing bodies felt comfortable with the settlement proposal.
You know what the next question is?
What's that?
The other guys approve it?
No one really intervened, so no one has to approve it. Wilmington Borough does not have a real estate tax.
New Wilmington Borough.
New Wilmington Borough. Thank you. And Wilmington School District didn't technically intervene. We did discuss with them and they were okay with it, but they don't have to sign off on it because they didn't intervene in
I
the
see, so
actual
the
court
school
case.
board doesn't have to vote on it.
So just down to us and the Board of Appeals, and the board is already,
But the school district is aware of it.
yes, they are.
Loretta, any questions?
There was an appraisal submitted by the property owner, so that makes the settlement a lot easier when they come prepared with appraisal.
Wonder who you're talking about. I'll take a motion to approve 77.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next
So
one.
can I ask him a technical question?
Yeah, sure.
And I should know the answer to this, I apologize. When you, when it does go up to the courts and then you reach a compromise settlement, does it circle back first to your Board of Assessment Appeals, or does it go directly to the three, or in this case, the one taxing body? But does it go to the Board of Assessment Appeals prior to coming to the three?
The board don't gotta take any formal action on it because they have nothing to gain or lose. The taxing bodies,
Okay,
because it is their tax revenue, have to be the ones that officially approve it. They are aware of what's going on.
they're notified.
Yes,
Okay.
I do a court appeal update every meeting,
Okay.
so they're aware of what's going on, and when there are proposed settlements, they are made aware of it.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yep.
Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Always do. Thanks, Joe. Good to see you. Up next, we have Mike for a CYS resolution for discussion of possible approval of Jessica Crawford in the CWEL program. This is a great program, actually, we have this for all employees. How you doing, Doug?
Good.
What we got going on?
Well, like I said, it's a resolution for Jessica Crawford to attend the University of Pitt to the CWEL. She's been employed for 5 years and a month. She's one of our senior employees, and she was promoted to a supervisor in March 7th.
Great, and I'll note that under this program, what this is employees of the county get to go and basically attain a master's degree in social work through the University of Pittsburgh. While they're at school, the state reimburses our expenses associated with paying their salary at 95%. So in other words, we only have to cover 5% of the cost. She gets effectively a free master's degree. She's got to work for us for X amount of years after the program.
Equal to the same amount of time she was.
Yep, and we get a skilled or a greater skilled employee in return. So it really works out for the best of everyone.
Right.
Note that CWEL stands for Child Welfare Education and Leadership Program.
Thank you.
Yes,
Any questions, comments on that?
it's an excellent program.
I'll take a motion to approve 78.
So moved.
Second, we have motion second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Next, we have Chad. I can tell that Fran wrote this one. You gotta realize most of these are 2 lines.
Yeah.
This is how you know the paralegals had their hands on it.
She does.
But we have a resolution for discussion and possible approval to enter into an agreement for 2021 911 state interconnectivity funding grant. What do we have going on?
This is, like you said, an agreement to enter into the terms and conditions of this grant program. The cell phones and phones in Pennsylvania, there's a surcharge added to each one. That money goes into a fund to improve the ability to call 911, our equipment, call handling equipment, our EZNet, which is a network that connects the counties involved in the region together on dedicated either fiber or microwave, and also improves our radio network. So this will be grant funding that goes directly into call handling equipment, the CHE, our 911 phone system, the actual network that all of our phones run on, and our hardware for our radio equipment. It's actually going to be upgraded in about 2 weeks. So using that funding, we're doing our SUA and improving our abilities there. So this money, it's yearly we do this to get that funding from last year's surcharges that goes towards improving our equipment, keeping it all on center everything. So
So I know this is already all in the budget too, just we have to approve the agreement. Any questions, comments for Interim Director Scribble? All right, I will take a motion for 22-79.
So moved.
Second, the motion second. Is there any further discussion here? None. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, too. Couple basic admin transfers here. Transferring $200 from IT contingency to travel and training. That relates to Bill's travel and training. We've got the big data project going on, and Bill's doing some trainings relating to server maintenance and some of the other stuff that candidly I don't understand. We have human resources. We're under budget by $42 for SHRP dues. They increased the cost of their dues this year, SHRP being the something for human resource personnel. It's an association. So just moving $42 from their HR contingency to an association. And then we're moving, we're going to counter this until we do the official move into the magisterial building. $500 from DJ Russo, land building rental to People's Gas, cover his gas bill for another month or so. On the right side, that project's moving relatively expeditiously. HVAC's hard to get right now due to the supply chain issues we're having, but hopefully we'll have it in there here by the end of by the end of May. So I'll take a motion to approve administrative transfers 1 through 3.
So moved.
Second, Commissioner second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Ordinances. We have none on the table for introduction or final action. Announcements. We have the next Commissioners meeting scheduled for 10 a.m. Tuesday, April 12th in the Commissioners meeting room. There will be a Planning Commission meeting on Wednesday, April 13th at 12 noon at the Union Township Building. Am I missing anything? Any additional public comments? Seeing none, any additional comments, questions, anything from my colleagues?
No, sir.
All right, I will adjourn the meeting.
Debbie, here you go.
What is the wedding? They have a date yet?
June 11th?
Oh, that's all. Good watch.
Take care. Thanks for joining us today.
We're all good to go.
Okay, good to go.
Yes.
Thank you kindly.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everyone and welcome to our regular meeting of the Lawrence County Commissioners that we will call to order. Today is Tuesday, March 15 of 2022. Would ask that if you have any type of electronic communication device, if you'd be kind enough to put it on silent or vibrate, we would appreciate that courtesy. As we always do, we'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence. Sheriff, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you please remain standing, we'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you all very much. Vanessa, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Spielvogel? Here. Commissioner Vogler?
Here, we do have a quorum. As we always do, we will have two opportunities for public comment. One in just a moment or so, and then prior to adjournment, we'll have an opportunity for public comment. We welcome comments or questions. We ask that they be related to county government matters. If you have a concern about a state-related issue, we would recommend you contact your state legislator or state senator. If it's a local municipal issue, we suggest you contact your township or borough officials or city officials. And obviously, if it's a federal issue, we recommend your congressman or your U.S. senator. However, if it's a matter relating to county government, you've come to the right place. We also ask that you try to limit your time to about 5 minutes, if you could, please, out of respect for everybody's schedules. And as I noted, we have two public comment periods. You're welcome to comment both times, one of the two times, or if you're just here to observe, that's fine. You're not obligated to comment either way. I'll move on then on the agenda, and agendas are available here if anybody wishes to have a copy of today's agenda. Row officer reports and comments. We're honored to have Sheriff Quilero with us. Anything this morning, Sheriff?
No, nothing here.
Thank you again. We always enjoy having you here. Thank you. So that does take us to, I apologize, our controller is here. Forgive me, David.
I'm just here for the bid opening anyway.
Understood. Anything over and above that?
No.
Okay, thank you. Please accept my apology.
problem.
Public comment. Does anyone have a question or concern at this time? Yes, ma'am.
No question or concern, but thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Erin Baker with Vesper Energy. We're the developers of what's called Firefly Solar in North Beaver Township. I know you've spoken with some of my colleagues before, like Dylan Stickney, who is still working on the project, but it's been several months now since North Beaver Township Board of Supervisors passed their ordinance, and we just wanted to make sure that we were still continuing to engage in the broader community, both at the township level, but also at the county level. I am the Director of Development for the East Region for Vesper Energy. I'll say my name again, just in case I didn't. Erin Baker is my name, and we have a couple of new things that we're rolling out as part of our community engagement that are so hot off the presses. I didn't even bring copies of some of these things. So you're hearing about this in real time. But one of the new efforts that we've got is a community grant program that would be available to organizations in the broader Lawrence County area excuse me. And it went from bad to worse. Okay, now we're good. And this is just a traditional community grant style program where, you know, nonprofits and other organizations who are seeking funding for local efforts, you know, be it, you know, fish fry, anything, you name it, school, little league sponsorship, you know, that type of thing, that they could just do a very simple application as on a quarterly basis for our grant program. You'll perhaps see some ads coming out about that. We're gonna run it in the local paper so that, you know, we're communicating it widely that this is available. And we also we commissioned an independent economic impact analysis about how our project would contribute to the township and the schools and the community. And because we talk a lot about how our project will have a positive impact, but, you know, we wanted to put some real numbers to that. And I can share, again, we're going to be having some public release of this that will be available on our website, which is fireflysolarpa.com. If you want to look at that, I'll say it one more time just for viewers, fireflysolarpa.com, where you can learn more about Vesper, the project, but also a copy of this economic impact analysis. It was completed by Parker Phillips, which are based in Erie, Pennsylvania, and they've done, I think, over 600 economic impact analysis of all different sectors, so they're not specific to solar. But we like them because they were local, and they've also done some, you know, unique style projects before, so they were good for that. But I think the report, I won't bore you with some of the dry numbers, but you know, we're talking over 300 jobs in construction, you know, very noteworthy dollars per year in an annual basis based on their modeling. So I think it kind of speaks for itself about what our project can provide. And then the last thing I'll offer to you is that, you know, as part of Vesper's kind of philosophy of community partnership, we wanted to open the dialogue and get maybe the county commissioners percolating about a community benefit agreement, which really just what that means. And we would be offering this to the township board as well, and also the school district that we're in communication with. But would also like to extend this to the county commissioners. A community benefit agreement is basically just, you know, in exchange for the partnership that you provide to the project, even though you have no zoning or permitting authority on it. This is still, you're still a part of this project from our perspective, and so we would offer, you know, some annual economic incentive as part of a community benefit agreement. We have some ideas in mind of what that might look like, and we can continue that conversation, but knowing that I'm coming in cold right now, just wanted to kind of put that out there as an opener for the discussion, and you can give me direction, you know, guidance on how you would want to proceed, and I'll stick around to the end of the meeting if you want to ask more questions. But appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Appreciate your joining us. Loretta, any questions at this point?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Yes.
My only comment would be I would look forward to any written documentation that you could forward to us. That would be very helpful.
Sure.
On any of the analysis.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Those dry numbers, maybe, you know.
I would love to, yes. Didn't want to start spelling them
right.
off here because they're somewhat meaningless if you're not looking at them yourself. But yes, we can share that. And again, we will have a copy of it available on the website as well. But maybe if I get, I'm guessing it's online, but I can email a copy to you as well.
That would be
Your
helpful.
email addresses, yes.
Thank you so much.
you.
Any other public comments or questions? Thank you again. Under fiscal and contractual, as we noted today, our county controller is here, Mr. Prestipine. This involves a community development block grant project in the borough of Elwood City, specifically the 8th Street Beachway Street Improvement Project. Of course, as we note quite often, the County Planning Commission serves as the administrative body for CDBG programs in Union Township, Shenango Township, and the borough of Elwood City. The determination of what the projects will be, that determination is made by the local township supervisors or the borough council in the case of Elwood City. And I guess I need to ask Amy a quick question. I'm assuming that you, for this project, did the appropriate legal advertising, which led to the receipt of these documents that our controller is about to open.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. David, if you're able to come up, David, my standard question is, were these all received in a timely manner?
Yes, they were.
Thank you, David. Before David starts, any concerns or questions, Loretta? Or any further background from either Amy or Rebecca? Okay, thank you. David, if you would, please.
Okay, we received 3 bids. The first one is from Shields Asphalt Paving in Valencia, Pennsylvania. Total amount of bid, $169,090.45. Next one is ProTech Asphalt Maintenance in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Total amount of bid, $137,159.31. The last one is from Youngblood Paving in Waltham, Pennsylvania. Total amount of bid, $126,152.32.
Amy, I assume that you would like for us to table these bids to give you and whatever agency or individual with whom you would need to consult. Would you prefer that we table them for that
Yes,
opportunity?
and then Rebecca will work with Elwood City Borough, their engineers, Art Taylor, sorry. They just switched, but they're still using Taylor for this project, so we'll work with Taylor Engineering to make sure everything's in order and hopefully be able to recommend on the 29th.
Very good. Is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Motion's been made to table the bids. I will offer the second. Any concerns, Loretta?
No.
Okay, all in favor of tabling, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. The motion to table carries. David, as always, thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Very good.
I'll send you.
Okay, thank you.
We have,
I'll put a copy.
oh, and I apologize too. In our packet, as part of the record, is the actual bid invitation. We haven't gotten that far, so we do have, we'll enter this into the record. The bid invitation document was published on February 14 and 21 of this year in both the Newcastle News and the Elwood City Ledger. It was also posted at the Elwood City Borough Municipal Building and here at the courthouse. Okay, next on the agenda we have our warrant register, which is submitted to us by the Controller's Office, which is a listing of the bills that have been paid. They are dated March 8 and March 11, and we'll take a second or two to look them over. And Loretta, as you're doing so, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise them.
Everything looks pretty routine, I must say. I will move to accept both.
Thank
Warrant
you.
registers.
Thank you very much. Give me one more second. I will second your motion. Any concerns with the warrant registers? So Loretta has moved to accept these documents. I've offered the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the minutes of the March 8th meeting, and I'm gonna ask a favor of you, Loretta. I was at the RIDC Board of Directors meeting last Tuesday in Pittsburgh. Accordingly, I was not here. And I prefer to abstain, but that means we basically have to table these
Right,
minutes until the next meeting, if you're willing to do so.
That's fine.
Would you be willing to make a motion to table this?
I certainly will. So moved.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I'll second that motion. And hopefully then when we reconvene on the 29th, we'll be able to, we'll have, hopefully all three of us will be
Yes.
here and you and Commissioner Boyd hopefully can vote to approve them. So thank you for
No,
that.
no problem.
All in favor of tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign, the motion carries. Thanks again, Loretta.
Absolutely.